There we go. Now we are recording. Let's give it one more minute. I guess while we're waiting for more to join us, upcoming events. Cassidy, you want to talk about what Cave's got coming up?
Sure. We have a sensory analysis seminar and workshop on May 24th with Jenny Baldwin-Eaton from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Western Colorado Community College. I think we have about 10 spots available. You can register online on our Facebook page. There is links in our Cave member group. There's information on our website on the event calendar and then in some previous newsletters, and we'll be sending out some additional information via email this week. The registration is $65 for Cave members and $90 for non-members. It's a full day workshop and it includes lunch. It's definitely geared towards winery staff, but if you are a wine enthusiast, you're encouraged to attend as well. So it'll be a full day of industry education there. I also wanted to update everybody on our passport program that has launched and is out there in the world. I just have them here. I'll be out around town in the Grand Valley side, sending out little stickers for the folks at our participating locations. They're little decals that'll be propped on your window or doors for folks to recognize that you are a participating winery. And then we do have a form out there if you missed the first round of signups until May 17th. If you would like to participate, please fill that out. And then in the chat right now, I am going to put in a submission form if you would like to participate in a Colorado Wine Week event. Please fill that out and we would like to get you posted on our Wine Fest calendar of events. So anything you'd like to plan or offer, ticketed or otherwise, during September 12th through the 19th in association with WineFest. We would love to promote you on our WineFest website and festival program. So I will throw that in there as well. I think that's all I have right now. And thanks for being here, guys.
Yes, thank you all, everyone. Real quickly, I do have a tips training coming up on Friday, May 21st. I think we still have some space left in that. So if you're interested, please shoot me an email. And then, the week of May 25th through the 27th, hopefully we will be hosting the new CSU Viticulture Extension Specialist over in the Grand Valley somewhere. Details are still TBD as there's some final approvals that need to be signed off on before this trip can be finalized. But be looking for an announcement. Our intention is that we'll visit a few vineyards in the Grand Valley, a few vineyards in Delta County, and then hopefully be able to do a small seminar for everybody who's interested in meeting Robert, who will hopefully be our new viticulture extension specialist if all goes according to plan. So that's May 25th to the 27th. And, we are still accepting applications for the Colorado Wine Industry Development Board if anybody's interested. There is a link to the Governor's Office of Boards and Commissions from coloradowine.com. So we need, actually the position that we don't have any applicants for yet is Western Slope outside the Grand Valley. So any winery from the Western Slope, we have 2 applicants for wineries in the Grand Valley and 1 for wineries on the Front Range. So those seats are available beginning July 1. So let's go ahead and get started here because you don't want to hear us talk. I want to thank the Department of Revenue and their vendors. This idea kind of came up in some discussions we were having when last month Revenue announced that the sales and use tax system had launched and was functional. And I know everybody's been looking forward to this for a long time. So we reached out and they were very quickly and eagerly responded to do a webinar for the wine industry. So thank you all. I'm going to turn it over to Stephen McGinna. Am I saying that right?
It's Magina, but
Magina.
You're close.
Well, I apologize. But Stephen, thank you so much for helping us to put this together. And I'll let you introduce your team and take it away. Thank you.
Likewise, I wish we were doing this presentation in person at a wine vineyard. Like you mentioned, that would be awesome to do. But due to COVID, we have to do these Zoom meetings and presentations. So I guess we'll take that today. If you can go to the next slide, please. So my name is Stephen McGee. I'm the product owner for SUTS over at the Colorado Department of Revenue. Today, during this presentation, you guys will hear from Aaron Neer and Cecilia at MuniRevs. Emily and Conan are going to be presenting on the TTR part, which is our GIS system of the SUTS system. And then we also have a couple of folks from CDOR, which is going to be Shane and Matt and Luann Pyatt. And with that said, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Aaron and Cecilia to start the demo for the SUTS portal.
Thank you, Steve. Yeah, I'm Erin Neer, and I'm the CEO and founder of MuniRevs. We really appreciate the opportunity to share the remittance aspect of the system that MuniRevs provides. And I'm actually going to turn it over to Cecilia right now, and she'll take you through the business center and answer any questions you may have about our system.
Thanks, Erin. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. All right, can everyone see the SUTS system portal here? Okay, awesome, great. So this is just our welcome page. I am going to be demoing on a staging site, but the real site is just colorado.munirevs.com. So our staging site is going to look exactly the same. Oh, sorry, I'm logged in on that one. But I'm going to go ahead back to our staging site here. This is the beginning page. You'll see there's some helpful videos here on how to get registered, as well as a nice FAQ section, the participating jurisdiction list for any home rule jurisdiction that has signed on with SUTS to remit with SUTS. And then this is a link to the TTR services, which Conan and Emily will discuss more about after me. So I'm going to go ahead and log in here. And I'm going to give an overview on how to file and to register and to file with SUTS. So first, you're going to go into your business center. I have a business already attached to my account, but if I didn't, after registering myself, I would come in and add a business to my account here. If I'm just an individual business owner and I'm going to be filing just for my own self using an Excel upload, I'm going to select this individual business registering for the first time section. If I'm a bulk filer filing for multiple businesses, I can use this option here and upload my files via XML. But today I'm just going to go over the Excel version. So you would just put in your business name here. and select what your business type is, your role, and if you're inside or outside Colorado. Continue on to this. And then you're going to fill out this registration form with your address, your phone number, name of your company again. And then you'll come down here you'll enter the FEIN for your business, as well as your Colorado sales tax account number if you're already registered. If you do not have a Colorado sales tax account number, you can also use the system to register to get a Colorado account number so that you can file. So if I just put in like a test FEIN right here, and then I'm just going to enter just a test CAN. It's going to search the system and it'll be able to pull up your existing CAN automatically through the system. And that will pull in any account numbers that you have associated with your business. This is a non-existent one, so I'm not getting anything back, which makes sense. Then you would just sign here and submit after confirming all the accounts you have with your business. So back to the Business Center, you'd be able to see this Colorado Go Live test here, confirmation of locations. All the locations that you have registered with your business will show up here. And from this page as well, you're able to download a custom Excel template. I'll give that just a little bit of time to load. So here you can see all of the accounts that are associated with your business, with your sales account number. You can confirm any accounts that you've not confirmed yet. You can, any that don't match, you cannot confirm and just contact us, but these should be all the account numbers, any local account numbers as well for any local jurisdictions and state ones as well. I can download a custom template from here, but I'm also going to show you how to add a workflow to your business to remit your taxes. I'm going to go ahead and just remove this test business really fast. So now there's no workflow on my account. I want to file my taxes, so I just select this file taxes here, green button. I'm going to search for the business that I want to file my taxes for. If there's multiple connected to your user, this will just be a drop down of multiple businesses. Select that one. I'm going to file for 2021, and I'm going to submit my April taxes now. So I'm going to go ahead and click this blue create upload button. And this is going to give me an option to create a custom template again. So I'm going to select that. And I'll show you this Excel that will download automatically. So this is the Excel that downloads, and it downloads any confirmed accounts that I've confirmed from the Business Center. So here I have my state account numbers as well as the local home rule accounts that are available to file that have chosen to allow remittance with SUTS. So I can go ahead and see all the local accounts here and the state ones and my account numbers that I have associated with them. It's super easy to fill this out. I'm just going to look at this gross amount column and say I want to remit, $6,000 in gross sales for Blackhawk. And then I also want to remit $7,000 in gross sales in Golden. If I have any deductions that I want to take, the deductions are set here for the state allowed remittance here. So if I wanted to do $5,000 here in Dove Creek and add a deduction for sales made to non-residents, I would just come down here and add a deduction for $50. For the local account deductions back from the Business Center, you can select here, and then this will bring down another Excel file, which will show you all the deduction codes for each individual local collected jurisdiction as well. So back to the Business Center, I've edited my Excel sheet, which I'll pull back up here just to show again. So I'm going to save this. I've already downloaded, so I can hit submit here. And then this is going to bring me to the document uploader where I'm going to go ahead and upload that file that I just saved. So this is all the jurisdictions from that file that I didn't have any gross sales for. I can leave them there. The document was received properly. And so it's fine to leave them that way. I can also go back and delete these if I wanted to, or you can enter zeros as well. I'm just going to leave them the way they are for now. Oh, was there a
Hey,
question?
Celia,
Yes.
this is Nancy. Before you go a lot further, the form that you just filled out doesn't actually show most of the information that everybody has to enter. If you're doing this demo, you might want to do things like show people how they set up all their service fees and that type of thing on it. You kind of blew through all that really quickly. And if people are using that access to it, they're going to need to know that information. It'd be helpful to have some real information instead of just a quick gross amount.
Yes, so for our sales tax here, we just have a gross amount column and deductions as well. Erin, do you have an answer for any service fees that are added? I'm not quite sure.
You don't need to upload any of that in SUTS. Our system knows the service fee or vendor fee rate. Our system knows the use tax rate. It knows any penalties, any interest. It does it all for you. So you don't actually need to do any of that in our system. It's a lot simpler than the Excel filing you might be used to.
So
yeah, and there's also things like food sales and stuff like that. I mean, I don't know how you guys determine all that stuff. The service fees, of course, are a refund back to us.
Right.
And the other thing I'm curious about is whether people know whether or not things are included on the home rule included or not included on that list.
So in terms of the food sales, this is just sales and use tax, the SUTS system is. So if there's any additional ancillary taxes that a home rule may charge, they're not part of this rollout of the SUTS system because it's simply the straight sales and use tax. So for instance, accommodations tax and lodging tax are not part of the system. Food taxes are not part of the system. So those would not be filed here. And then in terms of inclusions at the home rule city level, that's what Conan and Emily are going to go through next, is that in their system, they have all of those definitions and what home rule city taxes for each of those items as part of their part of the solution. So that you would do more like when you're creating your invoices, whereas ours is more at the end of the month when you create your tax filing. That's what Cecilia is reviewing here.
Right. Yeah, we actually do XML. So I'm just thinking about things that people who are actually just doing like one little simple thing like this, making it look a little more realistic for them. So.
Yeah, but it's a lot simpler than any other Excel filing. It's just your gross amount and any deductions that you need to declare. You don't need to put any rates, any calculations in your upload. Our system does all that automatically.
Along those lines, this is Ulla. I have a question. There are all these special districts, right? RTD, right? I mean, all the places I file have special districts. Eagle County, Garfield County, Mesa County. So do they get automatically included as well?
Those do. So on my screen, I went and pulled up Dove Creek here. You can see that there's two rates applied to your gross sales for Dove Creek. So this one is split up into state and city. There's other jurisdictions that do have RTD, CD tax. Those will all be split out here and you'll be able to see the different rates applied to your net taxable. If that answers your question there. I'm going to go ahead and show you another way to view your filing just in this simple summary view. So this will show you the three jurisdictions that I added into my Excel sheet, the gross sales that I've entered, any deductions I've taken. You see I took the $50 here for Dove Creek, my net taxable, any timely vendor discount fees or service fees, as you were saying earlier. If my filing was late, I'd have penalty and interest due here as well. This is the total tax for each jurisdiction I'm paying. And then it's split up here between local and my state returns. So after I've already seen all this information, I've checked it, it's good, I'm gonna go ahead and file. All I do is I come down here and I sign my name and I'm gonna hit submit. If you uploaded your file and you realize that you're missing a jurisdiction or there's something incorrect, you made a typo, it's a simple cancel and re-upload here. This will just remove your Excel file. You were able to resubmit a new one and make sure that that one matches, and then you're able to submit. So I'll go ahead and submit this one here. This is the total amount due for my filing. If I had multiple businesses on my account, I could just come back to the business center and file for those multiple businesses and then check out all at once if I wanted to. Since I just have this one, I'm going to go to payment method. These are the options for payment method. I could do ACH credit, credit card, e-check, or bank account. For ACH credit, I would just select a day that I wanted to send my payment on. And then I would hit pay now here. After I hit pay now and I've submitted, I'm just going to go ahead since this is our test site anyways. I get a receipt here. It shows out the vendor fee, the discounts here. Everything's broken out really nicely. You can screenshot that if you wanted a copy of your receipt, but also when you come back to your business center, it shows up here in your activity panel as well. So I can come back to this receipt, or I can take a PDF copy of it, or I can even go back into the form here.
So are you saying now that so everyone who has food sales now has to go in and file some separate set of taxes to cover their food sales?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, so this system right now is only for sales and use tax.
There's a lot of places that charge sales tax on food, I believe.
Right.
Food
Yeah,
sales
Boulder does.
is an
Boulder does.
exemption. Food sales is an exemption.
It's an additional tax. It's just a little higher, the tax on food. So when I file it, I have to say how many dollars of my total revenue is actually food sale. And then it calculates its own tax for that and adds it in. And they do get on your case if you've ever filed food tax and you forget to file it. They remind you, oops, you haven't filed any food tax last month. So if you have any local, right? I mean, it's Boulder, but Boulder is not included yet, right? So if you, most likely when you have home rule, you will have food tax. If you sell food of any kind.
Yeah, so as far as like the food tax and the lodging, it's not incorporated right now into SUTS. We are having discussions to possibly in the future include that as a future upgrade. But as of right now, as Erin mentioned and a couple other folks, that it's strictly for sales and use tax. So I know that some of the folks on here may be needing to file for food, but that would have to be done at this time separately with the home rules. So I know that's an extra step, but we are talking and finding ways to see if maybe we can implement that in the future.
And back to the special districts, what I need to know is the exact dollar amount that is calculated and shown in the report, because that's what I have to enter in QuickBooks, right? I have to, so is there a report that shows, for example, if I'd file for Eagle County, right, and Town of Vale plus its special transportation district tax, it shows it to me broken out, the X number of dollars for Vale, the X number of dollars for Eagle County, and the X number of dollars for Eagle Transportation. Does it show that?
So on the summary page, it does get broken out into rates that we do apply. So like I showed before, the state and county rates. But if you wanted to see rates, I think unless we have any more questions on the actual SUT system and filing, I don't know if Conan and Emily, you want to show your lookup as well, because that might be helpful for some of these questions.
Maybe it would be helpful for you to put something on your example that you just did that actually has some of the special district taxes. All the things you picked didn't have any.
Yes, thank you. Right.
Okay. Yeah. Erin?
So Cecilia, while Conan and Emily talk about the rates, you could maybe prepare another upload. I'm not sure if we have an example to show that has a county in it that has RTD, but the example that Cecilia just showed you that showed the county and the state splitting out in a separate column in that summary view, that's exactly what happens with any state rate that comes in. So if you upload a gross sales amount for a jurisdiction that has state, county, RTD, LID, all the marketing districts, say it had all 8 of the different rate types for the state, our system's automatically going to know those rates are there and and show them as Cecilia just showed you in the summary. So all you need to do is do your gross sales by that jurisdiction, and we are going to assess every other special rate that goes with it if it's state collected in that sales tax and use tax.
Right, but I need to know the exact dollar amount. You see, I go into QuickBooks and have to say, oh, I paid this sales tax. Otherwise, it will stay as a liability in my QuickBooks if I can't clear it. So I just write, so just like Revenue Online calculates it all for me. And then I just, right, I enter those values.
Yep, and they're displayed right there on the summary views that Cecilia had shown you by type of, yep, it's right there.
Okay, sounds
you can
good.
even download it to Excel as well, so that you have it, you can archive it on your desktop in Excel by each rate code as well.
I trust you then.
All right, and so I'm going to share my screen, and I believe that Conan is going to jump on and share how our GIS system works.
Yep, that's correct. Hello, everybody. Conan Royce here with TTR and Emily with TTR. So what we're going to do is just show you the GIS lookup. Right here, what you see, what we've attempted to do is make it as simple as possible. We wanted it to look and feel similar to Google Maps. So you've got the large Google search bar in there. Emily, why don't you type in Denver in there? And so what you'll see is it's going to pull up first what the interpretation of the center of the city is. So in this case, we just typed in Denver. Go ahead and click any one of those icons or anywhere else on the map. So when the map is interactive, so you're able to click on the map, or you can type in an address, whatever is your preference. All the same functionality that Google Maps has is available: satellite view, map view. You can even go down to street view if that's available in that location.
Are
you there? So on the left side of the screen, you see the address, you see the latitude, longitude for the location that was selected, and then you see the jurisdiction filing code. We'll skip a couple of the items and go back to them shortly, but down below, you'll see the tax rate and then the tax rate breakdown. This is all defaults to general merchandise, or the general rate for the location. If there are a few cities where we have loaded additional rates, and also there's various exemptions and so forth. So Emily, go ahead and click on general merchandise. And for now, type in just prepared food. So you can see in Denver, you've got sales tax for general, but then prepared food is actually in lieu of rate of 4% instead of 4.81. So that changes to 4% for, and indicates prepared food there on the left, and adjusts the total. Go back to general merchandise. And you can see the difference there with the general sales tax being 4.81 for the city. You can also see in the product and services list, there's 345 different items. Wine industry obviously doesn't need to use all of those. However, you can see how the system is set up. There are various exemptions depending on the type of item that's been entered. So let's choose any one of the reduce. Let's just click on one of those. So yeah, renewable energy components. You'll see now that it's not taxable at the state, it's taxable at the city, and not taxable at the local districts, for a total of 4.81. All right, go ahead and close that panel. The lookup also has various options. You can look at the current date. You can look at historic dates back to when the SUTS program had its soft launch back in May 2020. You can also look forward in time if there was to be an upcoming rate change that's already been entered in the system, and you select, let's say, July 1st, then that rate's going to show the updated rate. Since Denver had a change January 1st, let's select a historic date of December 2020. And you'll see that the 4.81 now shows up as the 4.31 rate that was the previous Denver city rate. The rest of the screen, there's a few other items. The overview, go ahead and click on that. Right, this is currently just a written overview. We may be updating this in the future to have more specific details about the specific jurisdiction breakdowns. But right now, this is a written overview of what you see on the screen. The next button is Ask a Question button. It pulls up an email that goes directly to the Department of Revenue's Taxpayer Services group. And so a user can just send a question in. And then the last button gives you an export of your address that's been selected, your jurisdiction code, and the product or service type and the rate breakdown, as well as the date that was printed. So you have that in case you want to keep that for records or need to share that with anybody. Up on the top right of the screen, you've got the two different videos. They're both basically training videos.
Welcome to the Colorado Sales.
And then this last button with the circle and the question is a diagrammed overview of what you're seeing on the screen, basically the same things we just covered. And the last button there is a link directly to the MuniRevs filing portal site. And then on the MuniRevs filing portal, there's also the link back to the tax rate lookup tool as well. That is actually pretty much the lookup. Any questions or anything that you'd like to see in particular?
Conan, this is Nancy. Sorry, am I tromping on someone?
No, I can ask later.
Okay. We just discovered a few days ago that you guys have actually done an API version of this. We'd been told about a year ago that you were not going to do that. And we did implement that API and it does work for us. However, we did see that there were this TTI or item IDs and service ID fields. Is there some place where those IDs are available? Because we had no idea what that was. There was no information about it in the documentation for the API. I was very excited to see that TTR was going to be here because that was one of my primary questions.
Okay, great. Well, I'm glad you mentioned that, and I will make sure that that is included in documentation. That should come with the API documentation, what the items represent and what those numbers represent so that you can set that up in your system.
Okay, we have an additional question that has to do with the API. The API is helpful. We file a lot of different addresses, so we can't type a bunch of addresses in. Sometimes I'm doing, 140, 150 different addresses. When we're doing deliveries, we're doing, 30 to 40 different taxing districts. And so this all needs to be integrated into our system. We also, I'm very excited, we're actually finally able, after 6 months of trying, to submit an XML file to you guys yesterday. So we're making headway on that. However, we're still having to pull down all the big spreadsheets from liquor enforcement in order to get service fees and that type of data. Are there plans to make this API provide not only, given an address, the taxing district, but also all the ancillary information that we need to submit the taxes versus collecting them? So the data is there that we need to collect them, but then we have to go in and wade through all these static databases in order to pull up the service fees in order to do our submittals. And it would be very handy to be able to have that information available with an API as well.
Okay, so let me clarify what you're talking about. You're asking about what would be the service fees and any other items that you're thinking about?
My husband's actually has been working primarily on the software, and I'm just looking for what all we need besides the service fees. I'm the one that's historically done the taxes.
What we could do is rather than take up everybody's time on this, what we'd be happy to have you do is send in the suggestions. Send us the suggestions, and we'll go over that with the DOR. This is a very structured setup, so we need to coordinate, make sure that whatever we do ultimately do is all coordinated. But
Yeah, we have sent that to Guy Ewing.
okay.
Do you know who Guy Ewing is?
I do not, but I'm guessing that
He's the guy that gave us the link to the API. He says he's from Minerev's Director of Engineering.
okay.
Yeah, that's Guy on our team, Conan.
Yeah, we have, we basically set it up so that the access to the API can be set up as soon as somebody registers. That's why that makes sense. So if Guy has not forwarded that over, then that would be great to get that, and we'll just, we'll do whatever coordinate we need to see what we can get added, but good suggestions.
So along those lines, I have a similar question. I'm not as savvy as John Bears to be able to implement an API. So I depend on our shopping cart, which has to have access to these tax codes that you have shown in the spreadsheet. And right, so the issue is that we need to charge those taxes at the place it's purchased, right, on our shopping carts, or with most of it's shopping carts. Because it's after the fact, me entering the address and then telling me I should have charged 9.3% taxes that I didn't charge because my shopping cart didn't know about it. So it is actually this API that needs to be available to a lot of software implementers. I would think most of us depend on packages and don't implement the sales tax submittal themselves. So how can I pass on to, right, my software vendor is open as long as they can access the tax code, and then they can create reports for me based on the tax code that comes up once the address is entered.
Which is your system?
Active Club Solutions. So you will get so many shopping carts, right? We all have our own way. It's my club system that does that, right? And that's where actually all those charges come from, is through, I would say most of it through the wine club and then through online purchases.
All right, so the reason the API was built is so that those connections can be made, but that's obviously a lot of connections and a lot of different systems. So what the best, I would say, thing to do would be to get connected with, to get us connected with the Active Club Solutions team, so we can start working out getting that set up. The API itself is available. So if the Active Club Solutions technology team can access it, they would be able to hook everything up.
Great. If you could then make that available through Cassidy, so I'll establish the connection.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. And I just roughly calculated, if I'd enter all the addresses, I could spend 8 hours submitting sales tax. So it has to be automated. I mean, yes, right. Great, thank you, that's helpful. And along those lines, it's a question too. Because that's when I worked with my provider, whether it's each individual sale or it's an aggregated sale by tax code. So that's what they could provide. And I would assume the tax code determines the particular tax for this address, right? And it's, right, incorporates, it's unincorporated Boulder County or City of Boulder or whatnot, right? So what do I need to enter in that Excel spreadsheet? Is that an aggregate by the tax code, Or is that for each individual sale, or can I choose whichever one I want to submit?
When filing through SUTS, it's for a monthly period. So all sales in April or all sales in February.
Right, but it's right for which district, right? I need to submit as you showed Golden, right? So a tax, right? Each jurisdiction has a number, right? I would assume has a number. So that, yeah, I know it's for a month, but is the tax submitted based on each purchase that has an address associated with it? Or, right, if I sell into Broomfield County 5 different sales, is it an aggregate for Broomfield County that I submit? Or can I choose whether I submit 5 different sales tax submit, right, for Broomfield County because I had 5 sales? So which way do you want it?
So you'll have to sum up your sales by location code.
Okay.
Yeah.
Location code, and that's the tax code, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And
Okay.
that tells the department how to distribute your money amongst city, county, and special districts by using that location code.
Okay, great. And that location code can be retrieved via this API.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, I carry on if nobody else has a question. So sales tax and use tax, right? Can SUTS independently summarize use tax and sales tax? Because, right, QuickBooks handles that separately. They are not combined, use tax and sales tax. So basically it's writing a check for sales tax and then writing a check for use tax. So can it do that? Create a report that has, this is your sales tax total and this is your use tax total.
Yes, that's exactly what it does in the SUT system. You would put that gross sales column is for sales tax, and then there's a subject to use column that you would put the total QuickBooks gives you for each location for use tax, and then it's calculated separately.
All right, and summarized separate in a report that I don't have to go in and add it up again, and
Yep.
it is,
Yep,
okay,
be
great.
total, exactly, yep.
Okay, great, because I didn't find it. And then I just had some small other issues. So what was that again? It's right. It did pull in all the licenses I have, right? So based on my company, so like I do have, right, a license for Vail, I have a license for Glenwood Springs, I have a license for Mesa County, but then the spreadsheet, right, that was generated did not produce all of them. Is there a way, how do I go about fixing it? Then I reported to tech support and they helped me out to create, right, that my custom spreadsheet did not contain all of them.
Sorry, yeah, I was unmuted, I think. So if there was an issue where your custom template was not pulling, so when you're in the business center and you're looking at your confirmation of locations, you see those account numbers there in that,
Yeah.
and if they're green confirmed, they've already been confirmed.
Yes.
Then they should pull into the custom template. So if there is an issue there, if you give in the chat or send an email, if you give us the business name, I can take a look at that and see what the issue is caused there. If they're on your confirmation page and they are confirmed, they should pull in automatically. So we can definitely have our tech team look at that if there is an issue there.
Right, so I can, yeah, if I get an email address, I'll send that person the business name.
Yes, I'm gonna put one in the chat. So you can email support@munirevs.com, and I'll let our support team know that the email will be coming in, and I can take a look at it once support receives the email.
Great.
This is Nancy again. One of the things we ran into when we finally succeeded in pushing XML into the new SUTS system, we've been using it with Revenue Online for a long time, was that because of the fact that it's now allowing us to do some of the home rule cities, we have all the taxing districts in the state set up, but for cities and counties, I guess it's mostly for cities, if they're in SUTS and they want a license number, obviously we don't have one, and somebody told us to put 4 zeros in. I don't know if that works for that system as well as for the XML, but we were told that that was what we should enter if, you know, we don't have a number, you know, we're not going to be getting a number. They told us to just stick in these 4 zeros.
So just so you guys know, the 4-digit number is what site is registered. And again, those are specific to location codes. So if you're entering 4 zeros, it's whatever location code is assigned to that particular number. So the site information is actually very critical to us. And so just entering 4 zeros is probably not going to get you the end result that you want.
Well, that's what your folks told us to do. This was for Denver, and we don't have a Denver sales tax license. However, the jurisdiction code was put in correctly, but where it wanted a Denver license number, they told us, I believe it was Denver, I'll have to check with John. They just told us to put in 4 zeros and that was the required way to do it. And that was what we should plan on doing.
And that's for the local account numbers, Luann, since we can't require a local license, right? It's not the state's account number. So that is what you would do for a local account number that you have not yet obtained a license with the local jurisdiction yet.
And we're not planning on having to get licenses with all of these people. I'm assuming that will continue to be the case. A lot of these jurisdictions, I might do one sale and never do another sale in that jurisdiction. So I'm not going to be trying to apply for 600 or 700 different jurisdictional licenses around the state just because I did one sale there at one point in time. I thought that was the point of SUTS.
So it is up to the home rules whether they will reach out to you and require some kind of registration process with them after you file. That's totally up to the home rule municipalities and what their rules and regulations are after the fact. Just be aware.
So, and how do you remove a task that's not applicable? I noticed I was assigned a task to file the April sales tax. I will not file the April sales tax through SUTS yet. I will continue as long as I can to use Revenue Online because my shopping cart doesn't produce I cannot retain the sales tax, correctly.
So I've gone ahead and shared my screen here again as well. So if you have your workflow on your business center and you don't want to use that workflow, if you just hover over it kind of here on the right side, a red remove button should appear. So you can just remove that task. And then just to answer—
access denied. I got a message, access denied. So I can send that issue also on. So I couldn't get rid of it.
Okay, yeah. Again, if you just send your business name to supports, I can take a look at that as well. This is the remove button we have for these workflows. So there might be something going on there. And just to bring back up the use tax, and then this also, you know, we were talking about splitting out those rates on the yellow form here as well. So this just shows again that these are all split out. These rates are all split out here. And I can come down to the bottom of this tax due and payable here and show the amount of tax that is split out for each rate. So that was something we were discussing earlier that I just wanted to
Okay.
re-show you. And then as well for use tax. So my use tax is set out here. I added $500 into my spreadsheet here. This is the amount the tax applied to this use tax here. And I can show you how I did that in the spreadsheet. Can you guys still see my Excel spreadsheet here? If I go into my my template that I've downloaded, in the instruction page here on this first page, it says if you have use tax, insert the amount subject to use tax in column D. So I just went back into my template. I just inserted a new column, and that is a typo. It should be column F. But I went ahead and I inserted a new column. I added amount subject to use tax here. I went down to the business, the jurisdictions that I wanted to submit use tax for. So this $500 I have for Egnar. And then I can go ahead and pull my yellow form back just to show. So then that shows up here in my form under this use tax here as well. So hopefully that helps clear that up as well.
And the use tax is not added to the sales tax, right?
No, it is calculated separately.
Okay, and called out separately.
Yes, yeah, and I'll just go ahead and just highlight that again. So the use tax amount here is that 500 that I put into my spreadsheet, and I'm only paying $14.50 here on this. So
Okay. Thank you.
Of course.
I think we can head on over to the rest of the presentation if Cassidy or Doug can help us get back to those slides.
Doug, I think you have them.
I do.
Perfect. Yeah, you can
All
just
right,
go on to the next slide for me, please.
It was me, Steven.
Perfect. So as we know, SUTS is it's a one-stop shop portal that allows businesses to file, to register and remit. And also a big portion of that SUTS is the part that we saw is with TTR, the GIS system that you guys can see the different tax rates broken down. And if you can go to the next slide for me, Doug. Here we see that for any businesses that want to register and get set up with SUTS, it's a 6-step process. And in those boxes, it breaks it down, which we kind of saw that preview with Cecilia. Next slide, please. Now, when I pulled this report last Thursday, we currently had 8,766 businesses signed up with SUTS. This number changes daily. So as you guys can see on the graph, we made a public announcement back in November of last year, and we can see a steady incline from where we're at in November to today in May. And next slide, please. And then as of today, we have 51 home rules set up on SUTS, and that number is also inclining as we can see over the months. Next slide, please. And then I know we answered a lot of the questions that we went through earlier in the presentation, but I also wanted to open it up to see if there was any other questions regarding this SUTS demo. We did answer a lot of the questions that were sent over earlier last week and sent them back. I don't know if that was distributed to the group or not, but I just wanted to open it up this time for anybody else that has questions.
I don't know whether, I don't recall that I received any answers back.
I can email that to you directly if you'd like, or I think Doug or Cassidy can share that list of questions that was sent over.
Yeah, I was just going to pull up that email. I thought we were going to run through them here.
Oh. But just going back, right, the crucial part is the collection part, that a business collects the taxes in the first place. Yes, and once I've collected them and my collection system can create a report, right, that I can fill out that spreadsheet, or it creates an XML right? That I don't know how to get my provider says they're glad to provide an XML. If I get the format or whatever I need to, what an XML looks like, that I can submit. But first it needs to be collected. And then ideally there is no manual entry of right, what has been collected, because it can, I mean, compared to before, it's a half hour to submit to a revenue online. It can easily, I calculated 8 hours, right? I mean, I just don't have 8 hours and I don't get paid for it. What is, right? Why would I want to spend 8 hours entering sales tax information? So unless I can collect the taxes and there is, right, a connection through this API, it's impossible to meet these requirements. I mean, I can't hire somebody to enter it for 8 hours unless somebody pays the business, right, to do that.
So part of that is why you get to keep a vendor's fee. The vendor's fee is for costs associated with filing sales tax. So
yes, $2.33. So it is no matter, right? I mean, I have to enter each one, right? And if somebody purchased something for $50 from me, I don't get a vendor fee, but I have to jump through all the hoops, right? I have to enter it manually. So it's just, for a small business, it's an enormous burden to do that.
Right.
Right. And right, if you have a low sale below a certain dollar amount, you don't get a vendor fee, but you still have to enter all of it, right?
You're totally correct. So I think one of your best options though is to give some information to TTR so that they can work with your software provider and possibly see if they want to work with TTR in creating that API into your system so that it's easier for you. We certainly know that there's cost to doing business, and we certainly know there's a few complications around the state of Colorado as far as filing, but this system was an answer to a lot of those small businesses that need help going to one place to do it rather than going to 72 different places to file and pay. So, obviously we at the department know that it's burdensome, and this SUTS system is a solution that people can use.
But you need to
I would encourage software provider to work with TTR and see if they can create that.
I will do that. And they were open. They already work with the state of Washington. And so that allowed them to pull these codes in. And
Right.
so, right. And so I will do that. Yeah. No,
And I
it's,
would, go ahead, Ulla, sorry.
yeah, right. It's, I'm glad you acknowledge that the burden for the small business is enormous with this system, right? It is beyond its reach unless you can automate it. And the SUTS system is halfway automated, but not fully automated. And unfortunately, we are not a big business, right? That, like Amazon, so no issue there. So yeah, thanks. I will make that connection and then I'll be able to file once that API is integrated.
I would just like to make sure everybody understands that this new sales tax regimen was dictated by the courts and the legislature. And the Department of Revenue is just here to help as best they can. And so they're not the ones who are saying, we're going to complicate this system needlessly so that small businesses have a harder time. They are trying to take the edict of the legislature, which was based on the court decisions, and make it as easy for you to use as we can. And I appreciate their time here today because, yeah, it helps them understand, hey, this isn't working and this is how we need to fix it. So if we could, Ulla, let's turn to the questions that were submitted.
Sure.
to review that? Thank you. All right, let me do this. So question number one, I heard that you can amend your sales tax returns for the state part for November and December 2020 and January and February of this year. So I believe that's referring to the legislature's, I don't remember what it's called, the give back of sales taxes. Is that, and the answer here is that that's handled through Revenue Online, but that's a whole separate, process, isn't it? Stephen or?
Yeah,
whoever?
that's correct.
Okay.
Yeah, it would have to be done through Revenue Online.
Okay, great. Great. Sorry. Let me fix my screen here a little bit. And I don't know who asked this question, but just making sure that is, you are asking about the sales tax. What was it called? A rebate or that was granted to businesses for COVID?
Oh, for restaurants and things like that. Is that what we're asking about?
I believe so. Does anybody want to clarify this question?
I believe that came in from somebody that may not be in the room right now, but I will communicate that with them. And once this whole session is recorded, this document will be linked on our page as well with all these answers.
And I believe Cassidy and I did link to the website on Revenue Online that had the application for getting this rebate for sales taxes during this period.
Here, this is Nancy. Just in line with that, I'm assuming, maybe this is not a good assumption, but it sounds like it is a good assumption from that comment, that if something is filed in SUTS, it just shows up as normal in Revenue Online as well.
Yeah, so once you file, you'll see it eventually in your Revenue Online account if you have a Revenue Online account, but you use SUTS to file. SUTS is just a mechanism to get us that return, and you would see it.
That's good to know, because I had never succeeded in filing with SUTS until yesterday, so thanks.
I think we've talked about this one, but as businesses need to know the taxes at the time of charging the customer, and not only at the time of filing the taxes, when with the GIS location API, maybe when will the GIS location API be made available for use by shopping carts and online purchasing software? So it is available
that was
now.
my question. Yeah, that was my question. Thank you, Doug. And the next is probably my question too.
It is up and live currently. The API is up and live. Right now, it accesses either through MuniRevs when the business registers, and then they get all the technical stuff they need to get set up. And then those that reach out to get hooked up will, if they're not doing it through MuniRevs, then they would reach out to DTR, Department of Revenue, MuniRevs to get that token access.
Yeah, unfortunately, I registered in December, and so I didn't realize that I was going to get it, right? So I was a little bit ahead of time, so I didn't just register recently. And I wasn't aware of the API then in December.
And Conan, if I might, Nancy, just a second, if I might ask Conan, do you currently have instructions on the website for how a business can connect their point of sale vendor with you guys to implement the API?
There's not on the lookup page, but I believe there is on the MuniRev site, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
I'm making notes of some of these suggestions.
That's great. Thank you very much. Nancy, I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Oh yeah, I was just going to say, you know, when as a result actually of this list of questions, Doug and Cassidy let us know last week that there had been an API implemented and we were able to get it working right away. They sent us a link for it. So Ula, if you need that link, we can send it to you.
All right, great. Thank you.
All right, question number 3. The custom Excel template does not include all the locations or jurisdictions specified for the business. How can this be corrected? Ula, that sounds like that was your question from earlier.
Right. So
Okay.
I'll send an email to support.
Okay.
The next one is mine too. And well, I'll just leave the dollar amount 0. It just, you cannot currently remove, right? We closed our Glenwood tasting room and now how do I get rid of it?
Cecilia, didn't you show us that you can click to remove a location? Okay.
Yes, and I've actually gone in, Ula, and I see your business in there. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the latest workflow for you. So that will be off your site. But normally there is just that red remove button that once you wave it over that workflow, there's a remove button that'll come up and you can click that and it'll remove.
No, it
Oh,
is
sorry, location.
Location, that's right. And I just would leave it 0, I find, right? If I don't fill in a revenue value, it's just ignored. It just happened, right? I created it in December, and in the meantime, now we closed a location, and so I wouldn't need that anymore. But it doesn't do harm having that in there in the spreadsheet, right?
No, and that should be updated through Gentex. So if you close a location, that should get updated in their system. And then once it's updated in their system, it should update in ours as well. But if you're using it, if you're not filing it, just leaving it 0 and filing it within your spreadsheet is fine as well. You're not required to remit with it, obviously, if it's closed. So.
Okay, question 5. Can I file sales tax for each sale separately, or does it have to be an aggregation for the jurisdiction? Sounds like the answer to that was aggregation.
Right, that's correct.
According to each sales tax code, as I understood it. Question 6, can you select the date when you want to submit a payment? Yes, once you file in SUTS, you can select the date of when you would like the payment applied by ACH credit and wire funds into the trust account, or B, if you pay via e-check or credit card, we process immediately through the merchant provider. So it just depends on how your what payment method you're using, it sounds like. If you submit sales tax using SUTS, where do you file an amendment for that submittal? Currently, amended returns need to be done via Revenue Online or with the HRSC directly. And please forgive me, since I'm not a vendor. HRSC stands for what?
Self-collected. It's the home rule self-collected cities, the municipalities that you directly remit taxes to.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you. How do sales tax need to get submitted for home rule jurisdictions not included in SUTS yet? Same as you always have. If the home rule is not participating in SUTS, you will need to file with that individual jurisdiction. Question 9, is there a way for the report to display the total for the use tax separate from the total sales tax?
And the answer, yes.
Yeah,
right.
sounds
So
like
thank
that
you,
is
that's
done.
mine.
Okay. Can SUTS handle temporary sales tax license for specific locations? So this would be, wineries, please correct me if I'm wrong, but this is like for a wine festival you're doing in Manitou Springs when you're not generally located there, right?
Yes, farmers market or farmers market, right?
Right. So if it's a special event, that is not currently available in SUTS.
Okay.
Now, is the farmers market considered a special event since you're doing that once a week, once or twice a week for the entire summer?
Not usually.
Not
Yes.
usually, yeah.
It is, yes. But I have chosen, because it's so painful to submit special events taxes, that I got myself a license and I submit every month. And for the months I'm not there, so I submit 8 months, $0, and 4 months, the dollar amount. And that is faster for me than submitting the complicated procedure for special events licenses. So I found a solution, but I guess I will continue doing that then.
I did have a question, if we might digress slightly, from a winery that not sure if they're here or not, about the multiple special event sales tax licenses. They said they were usually able to get them at the office in, is it Colorado Springs? But that office has been closed due to COVID. So in order to apply for a temporary sales tax license or the multiple event license, is that something you have to do online?
You can do it online, or Colorado Springs and all the outlining service centers are still open. It's just that you have to make an appointment in order to come in. So either way.
All right, thank you. Thank you for clarifying that.
While we're on that subject, I sent in a application for a temporary tasting room Thursday a week ago, and the only thing I got was an automated response. So I'm very uncomfortable right now because I still haven't heard from anyone, and I'm on a very tight timeline on this.
I will, I'll put my email address in the chat, and then you can reach out to me directly and I'll see that gets taken care of.
Luann, I appreciate it. Thanks, Emil.
You bet.
And Nancy, just to be clear, are you talking about the sales tax license? You just muted yourself. You're on mute, Nancy.
Sorry about that. Yeah, Luann, it is actually for the license itself. Is that something I can go to you with, or?
That's a different Department of Revenue.
Right, that's a good point. Yeah, so
yeah.
If it's liquor license related, then you'll have to go to liquor. But if it's just the special event sales tax license, I can certainly issue that for you and send it to you via email.
I believe, Nancy, you might want to try to talk, I think his name is Robert Darrow, who's the head of licensing. Let me try to look that up here real fast. No, of course.
Okay, we can take that offline.
Okay,
We don't need to
yeah,
keep everyone else busy with that.
But yeah,
yeah, you have good point. I was on the wrong target. But yeah, once
it's the
I
wrong
do
Department
those.
of Revenue. Yeah.
Gotcha. Sorry about that. My bad.
Why can individual filers not use the XML format just as bulk filers, which we assume are farmers market facilitators can do?
Oh, no, what is it? No, just market facilitators, right? For example, Vino Shipper, I assume, is allowed to file XML. So is Amazon, right? And whoever else is one of these bulk, right? These marketplaces, right? I mean, Amazon is a marketplace that sells for other businesses, right? And I assume Amazon takes care of filing the taxes for all these businesses. So does Vino Shipper, right?
Right.
So the bulk filing, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, this is Nancy. I can help clarify the question, perhaps. I don't know whose question it was, but since we use XML, the XML format, this is a very good question. It would be very nice for individual filers to be able to format to submit via XML. And that was what we tried to do, because we are a single company and we use file for many different locations. However, we did have to sign up as a bulk filer, and the bulk filer type of a account appears to be set up for people who provide tax services. So they're actually a tax submittal company that submits for many different companies. So one of the things that we ran into as we continued to try to get XML submitted into SUTS is that it turns out you are not allowed to submit taxes as a bulk filer under your own tax ID. You must submit it from a different tax ID because they're assuming that it is some accounting firm filing on behalf of one of their clients. It just so happens that we own two companies. So our second company, our consulting company, is now filing taxes for Whitewater Hill because Whitewater Hill is not allowed to submit their own XML taxes. And it would be very handy, first off, if we had been able to sign up as an individual filer in the first place. And then secondly, if even now that we are a bulk filer, if they would actually allow us to submit the taxes under our own FEIN number.
Regarding the individual filing, it's something that we've discussed to implement in the future. When we originally set up SUTS as a portal, we had done it as bulk filing. So that is feedback that we've received from other presentations and other businesses that would like that feature. So going forward, that's something for discussion as a future upgrade.
Thank you, Stephen. I appreciate that. How can special districts be filed with SUTS such as RTD? Sounds like that, as we've discussed that, and that is included there. Were there any additional questions about that? How do you remove a task that is not applicable? And Cecilia said that a health ticket has been created, or they're working on that, so thank you. If ship sales are managed with a third-party approved marketplace such as Vino Shipper, do we still have to file sales on SUTS? No, the marketplace seller is responsible for the sales taxes sold through them. So for those of you who are using Vino Shipper, they're handling all of this, but it's still good to know. And, you know, this does not, correct me if I'm wrong, but this does not impact your sales out of the winery door. This only impacts sales that you are shipping to a consumer or delivering to a consumer.
Yeah, Doug, when we sell to via Vino Shipper is a wholesale account for us. So we sell wholesale to Vino Shipper. Vino Shipper legally owns the wine, and Vino Shipper is responsible for all taxes and permits on it.
I don't think I want to know that, but that's okay. That's another conversation.
That's how they work.
Well, yeah, but never mind. Will the Department of Revenue send paid taxes to each county, city jurisdiction under our physical location? So marketplace facilitators are required to report the sales and then see this special publication on the DOR website. So, I mean, if you're submitting an individual return on SUTS, then would that be reported under the individual business identification number to the local jurisdiction?
Yeah, correct. So if you're doing some business as a marketplace, you know, sending some business through marketplace facilitators, and you're also having a storefront, you're only going to report what you're sending to the department on your storefront, because the marketplace facilitator is required to collect and remit any taxes that they facilitate the sale for. So.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Can sales tax collected for home rule jurisdiction be paid through SUTS? Only for participating jurisdictions. What's the climate among those jurisdictions? Are they generally glad to be able to sign up for SUTS?
Yeah, so currently we have 51 out of 70 signed up. So it is a voluntary system for home rules to come on board to SUTS. And as far as the process of coming on board, it's quite an extensive process for each home rule. So that's why we're seeing some come on at different times than others, because they have to go through council readings, their city attorney has to review it, and then they have to go through the integration part. So it does take quite a bit to get that process going.
Okay. All right, well, I think those were the submitted questions. Sorry. There we go. Okay. So any other questions for the team here? Any other comments from revenue or Muni Res or TTR? Muni Rev, sorry.
I guess just I put the support email in the chat, so it's support@munirevs.com. If you guys have any other questions that come up, feel free to email us, and we want to make sure that it's easy for people to file. So, you know, if you have any questions, need any help, just reach out to us, and we'll be there to help you with any issues that arise.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. And Luann also put her email there. Luann, 2ns.pyatt@state.co.us. Yeah, I really appreciate you guys doing this. And, you know, I also, I would echo what Ula said. It's great to hear you acknowledge how difficult this can be. And I know you've struggled with this since the beginning. I remember some of those early discussions around sales tax and realizing this was going to be a headache. But, you know, speaking as somebody who doesn't have to file sales tax, it seems much less painless than it could be. You know, obviously it's not perfect, but we're government. So,
well, and like you said, we are just the ones trying to make it simpler. We don't make the rules. Well, we just try to make it as simple as possible after somebody else gets to tell us how to do it. So,
I mean, I didn't want to make it personal for you. You have nothing to do with it. It is whatever we decided to have our complicated sales tax system in Colorado. The conclusion I came to, it's not really a software issue, a software problem to simplify it. It's actually that the whole system needs to be simplified. So that's the crux of the problem, right? I mean, throwing software at it may help a little, but it's still extremely complicated, and maintaining it right down the road is, I mean, a challenge. So maybe Colorado should look at some other states of how they do it in a less complicated manner.
Yeah,
it could be Oregon and eliminate sales tax altogether.
Oh.
In which case property taxes go through the roof.
Yeah, you're going to pay somewhere, but I think you'll find our partners that we have on these products are so willing to help businesses and help them get the right answers. So big shout out to TTR and Muni Revs, because they've been great to partner with. They, you know, they're doing everything possible to make it as easy as possible. So.
Well, I just this afternoon is a great example of that, for having you guys
yes, thank you.
and answer all these questions and spend your afternoon with us. It says a lot. So we appreciate that.
I wanted to say
thank you so much.
also, and we have been communicating for months with the folks at MuniRevs while we've been working through these issues, and they have been trying to chase after them and communicating with us. So we do appreciate your efforts.
Yeah, and I just wanted to add that, you know, Colorado is a very complex tax state. It wasn't easy to put this sort of system together, but you know, thank God for the vendors that we do have and the system that we were able to create. You know, it's still, you know, work in progress, but we've made huge strides with, you know, the home rules that have come on board and businesses that have registered. But thank you again for this opportunity for allowing us to present today.
No, thank you guys very much. And when the recording processes, we'll get it posted under, there's a tab on coloradowine.com under trade resources, educational resources, presentations. It will be there, and I know Cassidy's going to have it on her site as well. So yes, thank you all very much. I appreciate your time. thanks to all the wineries for your questions. And Jenny's sensory evaluation the 24th.
Correct.
And keep an eye out for the possible seminar with our new viticulture extension specialist.
Yes.
Thank you all.
Have a good one.
Thank
Cheers.
you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks all.